Welcome to Real Talk. I'm Megan Vega. They have been the source of heated debates, court rulings over controversial issues. Today, we look at how some of these decisions could impact New Jersey, from same-sex marriage to pay to play. But we begin with the historic ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court lifting limits on an individual's right to bear arms. Not only has it triggered a nationwide debate, but could it also target gun control laws here in the Garden State? My 9's Brenda Blackman reports.
27 words, 3 commas, and a world of controversy. Today, for the first time, the U.S. Supreme Court tackled the interpretation of the Second Amendment head-on. The case stems from Washington, D.C.'s complete ban on handguns, defended by its mayor, Adrian Fenty.
More guns anywhere in the District of Columbia is going to lead to more crime.
And challenged by private security officer Dick Heller.
As a security officer, I carry a gun to protect government officials, but my life isn't worth protecting at home, in their eyes.
At issue, whether or not individual gun ownership is guaranteed. Justice Anthony Kennedy, the court's key vote on every close case, set the tenor of the arguments in discussing the language of the Second Amendment, essentially saying the second part of the amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, is the important or operative part of the law. While several of the justices seemed open to the concept of an individual right to gun ownership, there were many concerns about how to regulate that right if it does indeed exist. Closer to home, the police chief in Union says he will take a wait-and-see attitude.
I don't think it's really going to have an impact on police departments within New Jersey because New Jersey never sought to ban handguns. What we do is control access to them.
Joining me now is attorney Evan Nappen, whose practice focuses on the New Jersey firearms and weapons law, and attorney Thomas Jardim, who is also president of CeaseFire New Jersey, a statewide coalition devoted to reducing gun violence. All right, let's get right into it. Your reactions to this very controversial to many decision. Tom, let's start with you.
My reaction is that this decision has simply knocked out the extremes on either side. The folks who believe that you can have any gun, anytime, anywhere, that's now off the table. And those who believe that you can take away people's guns, that's off the table as well. So what we're left with is those who believe in sensible gun laws to keep our kids, keep our communities safe.
Actually, that's not the point of the decision. This decision, for the first time in the history of the United States, we have a Supreme Court decision saying there is an individual right to keep and bear arms. Over 40 years of anti-gun rights lies have been put to bed. If you take a look at CeaseFire Pennsylvania's website, today it still says about the Second Amendment, does not grant any individual or personal right to ownership or possession of any gun. That is flat out not true anymore. Do you reject that today, Thomas? Do you say that there... Tell me, is there an individual right to keep and bear arms? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Great. Now we've made history. For the first time, we have the president of CeaseFire New Jersey saying there is an individual right to keep and bear arms.
Actually, that's never been the goal of CeaseFire New Jersey, to declare that there isn't an individual right to bear arms. Our goal is to reduce gun violence in our communities, and there is nothing in the Supreme Court's decision that will impact our ability to do that in any negative way.
I want to touch on something that you did say, and this is about the Supreme Court decision. It's a collective right versus an individual right, because the Supreme Court did talk about a militia. How do you interpret that and that part of the Supreme Court's decision?
The Supreme Court decision found there was an individual right. Even the dissent acknowledged in the very beginning, right away, it's an individual right. And now CeaseFire first statement is, we acknowledge it's an individual right. How it gets applied is another story. Well, and that's the issue that's on board for New Jersey. Every gun law passed in New Jersey was done without any due regard to any individual right. Now every one of them will have to be tested under this right.
So in your opinion, we're going to see some court cases come up here in New Jersey about gun laws?
I already have one pending right now, where we have a Second Amendment decision where we invalidated one of McGreevy's gun laws. The name of the case is Peterson, and we're fighting that as we speak.
Okay, Tom, you spoke about the fact that CeaseFire has never been about not owning a gun. It's responsible, and correct me if I'm misquoting you here, responsible gun ownership and the regulations. In New Jersey, there are quite a few regulations to own a gun, to carry a gun, correct?
There certainly are, and the vast majority of those, after the dust settles, after the lawsuits are filed by the NRA and their henchmen, after the dust settles, the vast majority of New Jersey's laws are going to be upheld, from the assault weapons ban to the permitting scheme that we have in the state of New Jersey, to some of the guns that we're pushing through the legislature right now, like a ban on .50 caliber weapons. These laws are all going to be upheld.
Completely disagree. As a matter of fact, these laws are going to be subject to some serious challenge.
Well,
because now we're talking about
no question about that.
talking about an individual right, and that individual right is going to play us to the rational basis, which doesn't exist on a gun ban, according to the opinion in Heller. They didn't even have to adjudicate a standard of review. It's that bad. New Jersey's assault weapon ban, estimated 300,000 in the state by the New Jersey State Police. That is a firearm that is in common use, just like handguns in Heller. It's going to be subject to challenge. And when you've banned 22 rifles that the Boy Scouts use for training and turn law-abiding citizens into criminals because they dare to possess a lawfully acquired .22 caliber rifle, that's outrageous and irrational.
Evan, what do you have to say to the people that have been the victims of gun violence, to the cities that are dealing with such high murder rates, to the cities that want, regulations, especially when handguns, when gun violence is so prevalent in so many urban areas here in New Jersey?
The focus has to be on the criminal, not on the inanimate object.
Okay.
The anti-rights people want to focus on the inanimate object. I say we focus on the wrongdoer. That's the key.
Well, that's just silly. There is no magic bullet to keep people safe in our communities. It requires not only going after criminals, but also going after people who are irresponsibly keeping guns in their homes without trigger locks, without any safety precautions to keep them away from kids. There is no magic to keeping people safe.
New Jersey already has that law.
What's required...
That mandates that firearms be kept in that condition.
And that mandate will be upheld under this decision.
I don't think there's no rights advocate I'm aware of that advocates irresponsible use of a firearm or irresponsible care of a firearm. We're all for responsible use. The problem is when you promote anti-gun laws that intrude on the individual right to have those firearms, where you stop folks like Mr. Heller, who's a law-abiding citizen, based on a ban that is, as the court said, irrational. We don't even have to go to a standard of judicial
obviously
review.
this is a hot topic issue. I'm going to give you each 30 seconds. I want to hear your best argument for how this is going to affect New Jersey, how this is going to might not affect New Jersey. Tom.
There's a great native of the state of New Jersey. His name is Antonin Scalia. He's the Justice of the Supreme Court that wrote the Heller opinion. What he said was, there is an individual right to bear arms, but that individual right is not unfettered. Just like the First Amendment, you can regulate the time, place, and manner of speech. The Second Amendment, you can regulate the time, place, and manner of how guns are kept and who gets them. That's what this decision upheld. In the state of New Jersey, we have sensible gun laws that are aimed towards reducing gun violence. The vast majority of those laws are going to be upheld under the Heller opinion, and that means New Jerseys are going to continue to be safe from gun violence.
Evan.
Okay.
Last word.
New Jersey's gun laws are going to be the ones that are going to take the worst beating, because New Jersey gun laws are the most extreme because of the gun ban extreme position that has been in this state since 1960s. You're going to see these laws fall. You're going to see challenges because they are so extreme. They are not reasonable laws. There may well be reasonable laws that get upheld, but New Jersey doesn't have the reasonable laws. We have the unreasonable laws that have turned law-abiding citizens into criminals, and Heller is the first shot at getting that change through. And now that we have an individual right, we have the high ground. We have the high ground.
We could keep talking about this, I'm sure, with the two of you for quite some time. I thank you both for joining us. It's a hot topic. I'm sure we'll be meeting again on this one. Next, California Supreme Court ruling on same-sex marriage and its possible impact right here in the Garden State when Real Talk continues. Stay tuned.